Arsenal's 1-1 draw that we just had now with Chelsea in some way kind of summed up our whole season. It was yet another frustrating performance where we let a lead slip and we had opportunities to outright win the game, but we fell short and had a 1-1 draw. Again, just summary of our season and a summary of the stretch that we've just had from the previous international break to this international break where we won 0 Premier League games. We have gone in our last 4 Premier League games winless. 2 draws, 1 against Liverpool, 1 against Chelsea, and then 2 losses, 1 against Newcastle, 1 against Bournemouth. Now yes, 3 out of those 4 games have been away from home, but away from home, who cares? If you want to win the Premier League title, that should not be an excuse, and I can't believe I've seen some people actually make that an excuse. But this game against Chelsea, like I said, somewhat summed up our season, and it's been like this the whole season. Arsenal have good moments, potentially even score a goal, and we look pretty okay. We never really look outstanding. I mean, I haven't really thought of one game this season where Arsenal were just perfect from the jump. I mean, even when you look at what I consider to be Arsenal's most well-rounded victory this season, that being the 2-0 win against PSG, at least that's the one on top of my mind. We were good, we were really solid, very well-rounded throughout the whole game. We made PSG work, but we weren't absolutely outstanding. It wasn't a 10 out of 10 performance, and we haven't seen a 10 out of 10 performance. Even when Odegaard was fit, we haven't seen a 10 out of 10 performance this season from Arsenal, and it is somewhat worrying. Now, again, this Chelsea game kind of just showed our weaknesses yet again. I know statistically it looks like it was a very 50-50 game because for a large portion it was. I thought it was a very 50-50 game. Chelsea had some huge chances they missed, especially in the beginning with that header from Gusto. But I think if you look at it, especially towards the end of the game, I think this is more of a drop 2 points as opposed to a points gained for Arsenal. There's a couple reasons I say that. Obviously, Man City have just lost to Brighton, so that would have been a huge 3 points for us to get. We'd only sit 2 points behind Man City. We are now 9 points behind Liverpool. No team has ever overcome a deficit of this magnitude, this deep into the season, ever to go win the title, so there's that as well. But I just think to the last moment we had where if Trossard had left the ball, Havertz put it in an empty net, huge opportunity missed there. And when we scored our goal, I mean, it was really good. It was with the run of play. Beautiful finish from Martinelli. I thought Saka was offside, but actually both of them were onside, so there's no excuses there. We also had that offside goal scored where it was just offside Kai Havertz, but the Pedro Neto goal we conceded was simply not good enough. It was Saliba. He had come out after the free kick, kind of to left back position, and both Declan Rice and Thomas Partey filled Saliba's role, which left a big space in the midfield. Pedro Neto saw the space, ran into midfield and just hit it with tons of space. Horrible communication. That wasn't good enough from us. But again, it just kind of sums up our season. So many times this season, against Liverpool, against Man City, against Chelsea, we are up against a Big Six team. We're looking like we could pull off a win, and then we concede a goal. We conceded to Salah in the 80th minute. We conceded to Pedro Neto in the 80th minute. We conceded to John Stones in the last second of the game. This is not what you can afford. And this is the worst part about it, is that we have not been good this season, right? We have not been nearly as good as we were last season, but we were still pulling off victories and we're still pulling off results in the beginning part of the season. Now through the stretch, we just haven't been able to pull off any results. We won twice in the last 7 games, not near good enough. And what I feel is so annoying about everything is that even though we haven't been good, objectively we have not been the level we were last season. Not yet at least. Even though we haven't been good, we've still had opportunities to beat the likes of Man City, to beat the likes of Liverpool, to beat the likes of Chelsea, who's a really good team now. Yet we are still struggling to pull off those wins. We are still fumbling or bottling in the last minute. It is not good enough, and it's really starting to get annoying. But there's a lot of different things. I think in various videos we're gonna have to talk about is what's really wrong, right? Because now against Chelsea, I think even though Odegaard wasn't 100%, you could see it. His touch wasn't as good, his passing wasn't as good, especially towards the end of the game. We still had somewhat of a good impact from Martin Odegaard. At least I thought he helped out quite a bit. Of course, he assisted the Martinelli goal, but a lot of us, including me, kind of started to blame this recent bit of form on the fact that there was no Martin Odegaard. And I do believe that was still a huge reason why, because I think with no Odegaard against Chelsea, I don't even know if we score a goal. But as well, defensively, we have not been good enough. I saw a stat saying that this was the 4th time already this season in the Premier League alone that Arsenal have faced 15 plus shots in one game. That is double what we faced the whole of last season. We only had 2 games last season where we faced that many shots in a Premier League game. So there are defensive woes. There are these stupid little things that we keep doing by getting red cards or stupid little nagging injuries that just keeps annoying the squad and the squad dynamic. Finishing wise, we have been struggling since the international break. Like, there are just so many small problems, but I think if I had to nail it down to the biggest problem, I would just say it's maybe the mentality of the team right now. I never thought we'd question this, but this mentality isn't as rock solid and as still as it seemed to be last season, where we would pull off last minute winners, where we could hold out a victory very easily. Feels like a lot of the time we're becoming that old Arsenal that struggles in a really tough game to hold out, that struggles when the going gets tough. It feels like we're becoming that Arsenal again. Now I hope maybe it's just a blip in our radar and we're going to go back to the steel mentality that we had last season. But I believe, honestly, the mentality of this Arsenal team right now at this moment in time is not good enough. It's weak right now. But I'm hoping, again, it's just a blip in the radar and it doesn't become a full sense problem where we need to address it on a larger scale. The defense is obviously a very huge problem that needs to be sorted out, because it's not actually a bad defense, but it's not near as good as it was last season. Our attack is not near as good as it was last season, but I think partly because Odegaard hasn't been fit for so long. And that 11 that we played against Chelsea was only the second time in the Premier League that we've played with that whole 11. So that shows that injuries have also been a huge issue, and we can only hope that injuries start dying down and we can actually start taking advantage of the next upcoming games. We have some really tough games coming up after the international break, of course. The likes of Nottingham Forest, the likes of Sporting Lisbon, the likes of Man United, who look rejuvenated. But overall, I think we've gone now past the hardest run in our season, at least for now. Having played the likes of Inter, Chelsea, Newcastle, all of them away, and then you've had to play the likes of Liverpool. I think we've passed the hardest part of the season, at least for now. And I really hope after this international break, our mentality can be fixed and we can hopefully attack this next really important November/December stretch that is often the make or break for title challenges. Now, I don't know if the title is still likely, but as an Arsenal fan, wanting a Premier League title so badly, I'm never going to stop believing. And I really hope maybe Liverpool hits a bump in the road. City have seemingly hit a bump in the road, losing 4 of their last 4 games. And I really hope Arsenal can pull it together, mentally become strong again, and fight through and hopefully pull off some results. Really important, because this Chelsea game just summed up our whole season so far.